On today's Daz3d tutorial, I'm going to show you how to do a studio headshot in Daz3d. So I've already got my figure in the scene. She is dressed, on all of her textures are the way that I want them. If you need to know how to do this, you can check out one of my earlier tutorials on how to create a character. Alright, now that I've got my character in the scene, she's also posed, and the first thing I'm going to do is create a camera. And I'm going to call this headshot. There we go. It's going to be our only camera, so you don't really have to name it if you don't want to. Alright, now I'm going to go to camera, and right now I'm in texture shaded view, as you can see. And the first thing that I'm going to do is turn the headlamp off. So when I do that, my screen is going to go completely dark, or my scene rather is going to go completely dark. So the first thing I have to, or the next thing I have to do rather, is to put in a light. So I'm going to do a spotlight. Except I'm going to switch to my spotlight view, and I'm going to point that at my figure at about head level, kind of dead on. There we go. Alright, I'm going to switch back to my camera. So far so good. And the camera angle that I'm going for is kind of a 3/4 view from about the waist or the hips up. So you can do it dead on, but I really like that 3/4 view where you're kind of off to the side. Creates some more interesting shadows, I think a little bit more interesting look than doing it dead on. So that's about where I want my camera. Alright, the next thing we're going to do, which is kind of cool, is we're going to create a reflector. So if we were doing this in a photography studio in real life, we would have a reflective surface down just below the camera. So it would reflect the light of the spotlight back up, and it'll light our figure more evenly because it's going to hit her and kind of take care of some of these shadows that we don't necessarily want. So the way that we're going to do that is by using a primitive. So if you don't know how to do this, be sure to check out my earlier video on using a primitive as a lighting source, because I'm going to go through this kind of quickly, and if you need to know how to do all this, I've got you covered there. So I'm going to go to new primitive, select a plane, perspective view. We're going to do a couple of new tricks here as well that I didn't do in my primitives tutorial. We're going to raise that up to just below where the camera is going to be. Rotate it towards the camera and then move it back a little bit. We want that to be in front of her, and I'm going to tilt that forward just a little bit as well, just so it reflects the light right at her. Alright, so we're not going to use this to reflect light from the spotlight, but we're going to use it as its own lighting source, as I said. So I'm going to go to surfaces, select pane. I'm going to use our emissive preset, set our emission at 6500. 6500K is pure white light. Alright, and now let's go back to camera view. There we go. And let's see what that looks like in IRA preview. Alright, very, very dark. So, the way that we're going to fix that, first of all, is we're going to go to Lighting tab and select our spotlight. And we're going to go ahead and bring up the lumens on our spotlight until we reach our desired lighting level. It's a little bit too much. So right now that's at 34,182. Let's make that an even 34,000. Just keep everything even numbers. There we go. Excellent. So now you can see it's really, really dark around here, and there are a whole lot of shadows. So I'm going to go back to my plane. So we're going to select Parameters tab, Plane, then go down to Surfaces, select Plane again, and we're going to start bringing the luminance up on our plane. Now you can see that's starting to be a lot more evenly lit. There we go. I'm actually going to adjust that plane just a little bit. Let's go back to perspective view. I'm going to rotate that this way. Just because of the angle that she's facing, I think that'll create a little bit more even lighting. Let's move that back to the right a little bit. There we go. Let's see what that looks like. Excellent. Yeah, that's much better already. Alright, I'm going to mess with my lighting settings just a little bit more. Let's bring that luminance up on the plane. There we go. I think I like that. And I'm going to adjust the angle of the spotlight just a little bit. I'm going to have that more to where my camera is. There we go. Let's see how that looks. So the key with this, as with everything, is just to experiment to find the kind of look that you like, whatever you're going for. There we go. I like that a whole lot better. Just a little bit of shadow on the right side of her face. But yeah, not bad at all. So on my render settings, I'm going to set it for golden ratio. Actually, I may already have it set correctly. Yeah, I like to do golden ratio portrait whenever I'm doing just a single figure. Keeps everything nice and clean. And I'm doing this at 890 by 1440. So I'm doing that at 1440p resolution, so a little bit higher res than normal. I normally just do it 1080. But I'm going to get a little bit more detail in this one. Alright, got it set to render into a new window. Alright, let's hit the render button and see what she looks like. Alright, and that's our finished render. That took my computer almost 2 minutes to do, so not too bad on speed there. Don't forget to hit the like button. Also, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. I've got more content like this coming out pretty frequently. And if you want to support me monetarily, you can do so through my Patreon page at patreon.com/SteveDave83. And that'll do us for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.